Hello everybody, this is Lara from Pure Elliott Wave with a very quick update for you today on Bitcoin technicals. And I'm going to take a step back today and look at the bigger picture on the monthly chart, because I see a bunch of people on Twitter, I can't call it X, it's Twitter, telling us the bull market's over and getting really bearish because there's been a short-term pullback. I think it's a really good idea to keep an eye on the bigger picture, people. There is no indication that the secular bull market for Bitcoin is over. There's no indication at the daily, weekly or monthly time frame. So let's have a look at the technicals at the monthly. It's pretty obviously a series of higher highs and a series of higher lows. Here's your basic definition of an upward trend. The last bear market was relatively brief and it ended in August last year at the low 49,784.02. In order for the pattern of higher highs and higher lows to be broken, you'd need to see a new low below 49,784.02. That's the low in August last year. While we don't have that, that pattern remains intact. The 1 year moving average, 12-month, is above the 2 year, 24-month moving average. They both have a positive slope and price is above both. The longer term, bigger picture remains very bullish for Bitcoin. Support, if we do see a bigger pullback here, should hold about 68,800 to about 73,000. That's the previous resistance of this last bear market. For the short term, volume is pushing price higher as we have upward movement, but overall volume is declining and is relatively light compared to where it was back in 2013 and then 2017 up to that high at the end of 2017. So we are seeing weaker volume. This may be an indication of the higher prices of Bitcoin, so less interest, but it is a little bit of a concern if you want to be bearish. On-balance volume has a tightening narrow range. It gives no signal because it's not broken out, but if we get a break above the yellow resistance line, that would be bullish. A break below the purple support line would be bearish. I'd keep an eye on that in coming months on your charts for Bitcoin. ADX is increasing. It tells us there is an upward trend for Bitcoin, which is in a relatively early stage, and it is not nearly as extreme as it can get. This is a very bullish look for ADX. Paul Webborn on Twitter had this idea that I'm following. If you draw this parallel channel on RSI, it was touched here, slightly overshot, touched here for support, fell short, fell a little bit short for the last big bear market. I would not expect this next bullish run to end until RSI gets close to or touches this upper edge of this channel. Now it could fall short like it did back here, it could slightly overshoot like it did back here at the end of 2017. So it's not going to be perfect, but when RSI gets close to this trend line, I'd be looking for a series of other indicators to indicate an end to the upward movement for Bitcoin, and I would be potentially selling my Bitcoin when that happens, and that's months and months away. It may happen this year, that's my expectation. The same idea kind of works for money flow, but not as tightly as RSI. So again, if money flow gets close to this resistance line, I'd be looking at other indicators, and if they indicate overbought extreme conditions, I'd be considering selling my Bitcoin at that time. ATR shows a strong increase, so although volume is declining, volatility is increasing. This is a very bullish signal for Bitcoin. So RSI is overbought, but it can get very deeply overbought when this market has a strong bullish run. I am noting there are two pivots here and the corresponding pivots on price, and there is some bearish divergence. It's very weak though. This pivot on RSI is only slightly below this pivot previously on RSI. So price is closed higher, RSI is very slightly lower. I think this divergence is just too weak to give much weight. But if you wanted to be bearish on Bitcoin, there's some evidence. At the daily time frame, the end of the last bear market is just off to the left of the chart. Here's the all-time high, and so far this looks like a relatively short-term pullback. So long as support about 90,000 to 92,000 holds, I will expect that this downward movement may very well be complete for January 13th, and we may be on the way to new all-time highs for Bitcoin. There's a hammer candlestick for January 13th occurring around support 90,000 to 92,000, suggesting a trend change here. And so far for the following session, January 14th, we're getting some follow through, some upward movement, which has some support from volume. I'm not seeing anything in these charts to tell us that the bull market is over and we're moving into the next bear market. It is absolutely normal to be expected behaviour that we'll have pullbacks and consolidations along the way. And even if this does develop into another technically bear market and that it may reduce 20% or more of market value, for my own investing purposes, I will not be selling. Even if it does develop into a bear market, I'm waiting for the end of a primary degree third wave, if not a cycle degree third wave, and I cannot see the Elliott's wave structure complete, and the third wave has not moved far enough beyond the end of the first wave to allow room for a fourth wave to unfold and remain above first wave price territory. So using those two core Elliott wave rules for an impulse, I'm using that to inform my investing decisions, and I'm holding on and waiting for the bigger picture, the next end of the next big secular bull market run before we move into the next deep bear market that may last over a year. I do not think that is upon us yet. So that's my 2 cents worth for today. I hope you're all having a lovely day.